I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the bold man stride toward our table, his confidence almost tangible. Without hesitation, he reached for my wife's hand, his lips curling into a sneer. "Why stay with this weakling?" he taunted, his voice a smooth, arrogant drawl. "Let's dance first and then I'll show you what a real man can do." The insult hung in the air like a blade, slicing through the carefully cultivated ambience of the upscale Geneva restaurant. The dim lighting cast a golden glow over polished mahogany tables, the soft melody of a grand piano weaving through hushed conversations. It was a place meant for elegant celebrations and discreet business dealings, but tonight, it felt like a gilded cage. Amar sat across from me, her beauty impossible to ignore. Her jet-black hair was immaculately styled, her crimson lips a striking contrast to the sleek evening gown that hugged her figure. Yet, despite her refinement, there was a chilling distance in her gaze, one I had felt growing over the past 6 months. Late nights at the law firm, cryptic messages, inexplicable absences. The woman I had shared 15 years with was slipping through my fingers, and tonight was meant to be our chance to mend what was broken. Instead, I found myself an unwilling spectator as my world cracked open. A shadow loomed over us. I lifted my gaze to find a man in his early 30s, tall, fit, and radiating an insufferable arrogance. His tailored suit spoke of wealth, but it couldn't conceal the overconfidence in his stance. Blue eyes, sharp and predatory, locked onto Amar, completely dismissing my presence. "I didn't expect to see you here tonight, Omar," she said, her voice a careful blend of charm and discomfort. She froze, her wine glass suspended in midair, her gaze darting between us. Then finally she spoke his name. "Lucas?" Her hesitation betrayed more than she intended. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice faltering. "Just enjoying the city," he replied smoothly, flashing a smile that sent a surge of fury through me. He took her hand with casual familiarity. "Why waste your time with him?" His voice dripped with mockery. "Come, let's dance. Then I'll show you what I can offer." Silence rippled through the restaurant, all eyes fixed on us. Amar tried to pull away, but Lucas tightened his grip, his boldness igniting something primal within me. I rose slowly, the legs of my chair scraping against the floor with a harsh, deliberate sound. "You have 3 seconds to let go of her hand." My voice was calm, but the weight of the warning was unmistakable. Lucas smirked, a silent challenge flashing in his eyes. But before he could react, my fingers closed around his wrist and twisted. A sickening crunch shattered the silence. A scream tore from his throat as he collapsed, cradling his shattered hand. The entire restaurant froze in stunned silence. "Magnus!" Amar gasped, her fingers clutching my arm, trembling. "What are you doing?" Ignoring her, I crouched beside Lucas, my voice low and edged with steel. "This is just the beginning," I murmured. "You made a mistake tonight and you're going to regret it." His face twisted with pain and fury. "You'll pay for this," he spat, his breath ragged. I straightened, my gaze shifting to my wife, whose expression was unreadable, shock, guilt, something else simmering beneath the surface. "Let's go," I said, my tone leaving no room for argument. For a moment she hesitated, torn between defiance and submission. Then slowly she rose, her heels clicking against the marble floor as she followed me out. Behind us, murmurs filled the space we left behind, speculation and scandal already taking root. The drive home was suffocating. Amar sat rigidly, her hands clasped in her lap, eyes trained on the road ahead. The weight of unspoken words pressed against the silence. When we pulled into the driveway, I turned off the engine and faced her. "Talk," I demanded, my voice breaking the quiet. She flinched, her composure cracking. "Magnus, I don't know what you want me to say," she whispered. "I want the truth." I leaned closer, my tone ice cold. "Who is he? How long has this been going on?" Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. Whatever sympathy I had once held for her had been exhausted. "It's complicated," she began. I let out a bitter laugh. "Complicated?" I echoed. "Let me simplify it for you. Either you tell me everything now or I'll find out myself. And believe me, you won't like what I uncover." Her shoulders sagged, the fight draining from her. "It started 6 months ago," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. The confession hit harder than I expected, even though I had long suspected it. I forced myself to stay calm. "Did you know he'd be there tonight?" My voice was steady but my chest was tight. "No," she cried, desperation lacing her words. "Magnus, I swear I didn't." "Stop lying." My voice cut through her plea. "I saw the way you looked at him. You weren't just surprised. You were afraid." She buried her face in her hands, her muffled sobs filling the car. I stared ahead, my mind already moving beyond pain, beyond betrayal. By morning I had a plan. From my office, Geneva's skyline stretched before me, but my mind was consumed with something else. If Amar and Lucas thought they could walk away unscathed, they were mistaken. A simple search revealed everything I needed to know about Lucas. Failed businesses, lawsuits, a life of excess built on deception. Within hours, I had a dossier of his financial misdeeds. Debt, fraud, and manipulation painted the portrait of a man on the brink of collapse. And Amar? She had played her part well, but I was always one step ahead. Emails, messages, photos, all safely stored. This wasn't revenge. It was leverage. If she fought me in the divorce, I wouldn't hesitate to use it. The final step was public humiliation. I ensured Lucas was invited to an elite charity gala, a gathering of Geneva's most powerful figures. At the same time, his carefully concealed fraud made its way into the hands of a scandal-hungry journalist. By morning, his empire had crumbled. His assets were frozen. His name was in headlines. His reputation was ruined. Amar fared no better. Friends vanished. Invitations ceased. Her family distanced themselves. She was alone. In court, as we signed the final divorce papers, she was a shadow of the woman she once was. "Magnus," she whispered as we left. "Did it have to be this way?" I met her gaze without flinching. "You made your choices," I said. "Now you live with them." Months passed. The house, once filled with tension, now felt calm. I buried myself in work, expanding my business across Europe. The pain lingered, but with time it dulled, replaced by something sharper: clarity. One evening, at another charity gala, a woman approached me. "I'm Isabel," she said, her voice smooth, her presence quietly elegant. "I've heard about your work. It's impressive." We talked for hours. For the first time in years, I felt a real spark. A reminder that, despite everything, life still held beauty. That night, standing on my balcony, I gazed over the city lights, my glass raised in silent reflection. Pain had shaped me. Betrayal had tested me. But in the end, I emerged stronger. And as I turned away, I knew rebirth had already begun.